Today, we're taking a trip to a place where Ramadan isn't just a quiet, personal observance. Oh no, it's lived out loud, right in the middle of the street. We're heading to Sudan, where breaking the fast is this huge, public, and incredibly generous event that literally transforms the entire country.
Okay, so to get what makes Ramadan in Sudan so special, you have to understand this one core idea, al-Karam al-Jama'i. It translates to communal generosity. And this isn't just about, being a nice person. It's this deep, fundamental belief that sharing is a collective duty, that taking care of your neighbor, or even a total stranger, is the job of the entire community. Honestly, this one principle is the key to everything else we're about to see.
And believe me, that is literally true. The run-up to the holy month is a complete sensory experience. For weeks before it even starts, this very distinct, wonderful smell starts wafting out of people's homes and filling the streets. It's a scent that tells everyone, hey, get ready, the season of fasting and community is almost here.
So, where does that amazing smell actually come from? Well, it's the very first taste of anticipation, and it all comes down to one very special tradition.
Meet Abre, or as it's more poetically known, Hilamour, which means the sweet bitter. This is the national drink of Ramadan in Sudan, and it's absolutely essential for Iftar, the meal that breaks the fast. Its flavor is really complex, and it's designed specifically to rehydrate you and give you a boost of energy after a long day. But it's so much more than just a drink. It's a whole ritual.
What's really amazing, though, is how it's made. Abre isn't something you just whip up by yourself in your kitchen. No way. It's a full-blown community event. All the women in a neighborhood will get together to share the work. They're mixing, spicing, and then very carefully baking this mixture into these paper-thin sheets. And that rich, spicy, baking aroma, that is the smell of Ramadan arriving in Sudan.
But that communal spirit, it goes way, way beyond just making a drink. Every single evening, right around sunset, you see the most powerful example of Sudanese generosity. It's a tradition called the street iftar, and I mean it when I say there is nothing else like it anywhere in the world.
I want you to just pause and think about that for a second. What if it wasn't just, kind of sad to eat by yourself, but it was socially forbidden to break your fast alone? Well, in Sudan, that's not some hypothetical question. It is the reality every single day during Ramadan.
So here's what happens. Every evening, as the sun starts to set, the streets literally transform into these massive, open-air dining rooms. Men and young boys come out of their houses carrying these huge trays called sawanis, just piled high with food, and they lay them out on mats for everyone. Neighbors, travelers, total strangers, it doesn't matter. Everyone is welcome. The entire point is to make 100% sure that nobody, and I mean nobody, has to eat alone.
And get this, it's not just a polite, passive invitation, it is active generosity, to the point where young men will actually stand in the road and block cars. They will stop traffic to make sure that anyone driving or traveling through has to stop and share a meal with them. It's this powerful, beautiful idea some people call compulsory generosity. It's just a raw act of community care. Okay, so what is actually on these giant communal trays? Let's take a look at the incredible flavors of the Nile that fuel this amazing tradition. The meal itself is built to be super hearty and filling. The star of the show is often a sida, this really thick porridge that gives you a ton of energy, and you eat it with a savory stew called mula. On the side, you'll have gorasa, which is a kind of thick, fluffy flatbread, and balila, a really nourishing dish of boiled chickpeas. This is real comfort food, It's meant to properly restore you after a long day of fasting. And of course, you've got to have something to drink. There's a whole lineup of amazing beverages. You've got the classic spiced Hilamour, of course, but also a sweeter, non-spiced version called white abre. Then there are these drinks made from incredible local fruits, like tabaldi from the giant baobab tree, or karkade, a chilled hibiscus tea that people love. Every single one is refreshing and just so uniquely Sudanese.
All right, so after the big communal meal, the night is really just getting started. The focus kind of shifts from the body to the soul, and the evenings are filled with prayer, more community, and a really distinct sense of Sudanese style.
As people head out to the mosques or go visit family, you just see this beautiful display of traditional clothing. Men wear a crisp white robe called a jalabia with this really distinctive turban, the imama. And the women wear the thobe, which is this stunning 4.5-meter-long wrap of colorful, flowy fabric, often with these gorgeous, intricate henna designs on their hands and feet. It's just a picture of pure elegance and cultural pride.
The mosques are just buzzing with activity, especially for the special nightly Taraweeh prayers. But Sudan also has this incredibly rich Sufi tradition. So in cities like Durman, you can find zikr circles, where people express their devotion through this really rhythmic chanting and drumming. It's a truly mesmerizing spiritual experience. And then, in the last 10 nights of Ramadan, the devotion gets even deeper, with late-night tahajjud prayers that can last all the way until dawn.
And then, after a whole month of fasting, of praying, and of this unbelievable generosity, the entire country just erupts in celebration. That spirit of togetherness hits its peak with the festival of Eid al-Fitr.
So the morning starts just like the rest of the month, together. Huge crowds gather for prayer in these big open squares. But what happens next is so cool. Entire neighborhoods will literally move as a single group, going from one house to the next to wish everyone a happy Eid. And at every single stop, the host brings out sweets and, of course, a glass of abra. The cycle of sharing just keeps on going, right to the very end.
You can even hear all of these values in the way people talk to each other. The classic greeting is Ramadan Kareem, which means generous Ramadan. But the reply is what's really telling. People say, Allah Akram, God is more generous, which puts all the focus back on divine blessings. Other greetings wish you well in your fasting and express this beautiful hope that you'll be around to share this season together again next year.
You know, when you step back and look at it, the whole Sudanese Ramadan experience is this powerful challenge to our modern, often individualistic world. It's a model where taking care of the community isn't just a nice idea, it's an active, shared, non-negotiable duty. And it really leaves you with a big question. In our own lives, in our own communities, what would it look like if we too made it truly forbidden for anyone to eat alone?